Welcome, everybody, to Greg Talks to People, the show designed to cure my social anxiety. On today's show, we have wrestling content creator, writer, and good friend, and it's not just Sports Illustrated saying it. It's SP3. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, Gray. You're one of the few people that I will take time out to talk to because you are one of the kindest, most positive people in the wrestling community, wrestling media field. So always enjoy our chats, man.
I do too. I always enjoy being put over. You are very much the same. You're very fantastic in a number of ways, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Now, you've got a number of things going on at the moment. I mean, you do work with True Heel Heat, Fightful, Sports Illustrated, as I mentioned, among others. My first question to you is, what is it like being this busy working in wrestling media?
I never thought I would be doing as much as I do now. When I first got into the field, I just wanted to basically how we came up with True Hill Heat. It was a group of my friends. We just used to argue all the time about pro wrestling, and we were like, "Hey, we see places like Wrestle Talk and What Culture are talking about wrestling and on YouTube and do podcasts and everything." And we're like, "Hey, we could probably do that." And we didn't see a lot of people that looked like us. There wasn't a lot of black African Americans or Spanish, Hispanics, Indians were a part of our group that used to chat about wrestling. And we were like, we wanted to see more people like ourselves out there talking about pro wrestling. So I didn't, when I started the podcast with my friends, I didn't imagine I would be doing like writing and other things that I've gone into, but a global pandemic will do that. But to be this busy now, it's very tough, especially with having two 5-year-old twins who are going to be 6 in about a few months now. I have a missus as well. And then I try to do other content outside of the wrestling world. Like I do reviews for Power and all the different Power shows that they do on Stars. And I do a basketball podcast with my boy Chris G on our second channel. And I talk about basketball with Jeremy Lambert on Fightful Overbook on In the Weeds. So to kind of balance everything, it is tough, but a lot of my time does go into watching wrestling and writing about wrestling and having different jobs with Wrestle Talk and Sports Illustrated doing that. It's very tough. It's very tough to balance everything out, especially with the home life and the family life, but it's kind of fulfilling. Like my paycheck and my bank account is not always going to be the most fulfilling thing when it comes to that, but it is fulfilling that so many different outlets want to hear my voice or want to hear what I have to say about pro wrestling. So it is very gratifying that my opinion is something that people like to read about or like to hear about or like to see about on a regular basis the way I do. So I would say fulfilling is to be this busy in the pro wrestling media world.
Absolutely. And having a voice that can be heard and is chosen to be heard is something that a lot of us strive for. Even like you said, even if the paycheck isn't exactly what we hope for, having our voice heard is so incredibly important. So
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. Now, in that same vein, working in wrestling media and other media, you've probably endured your fair share of criticism and probably cruelty from people on social media because, as we know, everybody on social media knows everything. So, how do you deal with some of that criticism or just vitriol that comes your way?
Um, I kind of just laugh it off because it's not anybody that I really will kind of value their opinion that gets mad at me or sends me any type of vitriol. I have my group of friends and I've made some great friends through the wrestling media world and through the wrestling community. Like my whole friend group and the team that I have with True Hill Heat is just fans of pro wrestling that kind of came together, had mutual likings, or used to go to wrestling shows together, or go to a bar and watch a wrestling show together. I have my missus who is the love of my life that, feeds me and will sometimes take care of me. I massage her. I take care of her pains. I listen to her and all the stuff that she goes through and all the issues that she has. And she listens to me. It's a very healthy relationship there. And then I have my kids that I have to take care of and make sure they don't jump off a cliff somewhere or burn something down. So, I have those people. I have my family. I have my mom who's been so great about me in the wrestling media world, and my sisters who are always so supportive. And I have cousins that are just like, wow, at like they remember me as like the little kid in our family group at our grandmother's house with our cousins, used to always want to watch wrestling with our grandmother, and now they see me. I'm writing for Sports Illustrated, and that's just like a mind blown for them. Like, wow, I didn't think you would get this far. So I have a close knit group of people, like I said, in True Hill Heat with my family, and then the friends that I've grown, like yourself, in the wrestling media world and wrestling community. Those are the people that I value. Those are the people that I will really kind of go back and forth with, and I'm actually listening to what you say. If even if we don't agree on a certain topic, I'll go back and forth with you. Like, I just had a whole debate with Graham. Shout outs to Graham from he was a great writer, a great podcaster, and I went back and forth with him about Triple H and his booking. And I listened to him, he listened to me. We didn't always agree on everything, but we found a common solid ground. And those are the people that I like to discuss and interact with on social media. If someone's giving me any type of vitriol, I'll go back and forth with you, because little known fact about me, I used to be a troll on YouTube, on social media.
Haven't we all?
My first interaction with Sean Ross Sapp was me complaining about one of his takes and saying that he was wrong about Carmella being good at professional wrestling. That was the first interaction I ever had with Sean Ross Sapp, and Sean Ross Sapp is such a great, genuine person that I've grown to be friends with. So, like, I can go back and forth with these people that want to say vitriol and say nasty things, but I get to a certain point where I just block people. Like, I think in 2025, I blocked like 200 people, because yeah, there is people that if I have an opinion on something, or I don't like something, or I do like something, they totally disagree, and they want to go to a nasty level. They want to call you names or call you outside of your name, talk about your family, talk about the way you look, and I don't have time for any of those people. So I've learned the line that I'm willing to go to before I just block you and you're just gone from my social media, and you don't have to see any of my takes or my opinions anymore. So I just have a line that I'm willing to go to, and once you pass that, that's when I'm done with the vitriol.
Speaking of Sean, it's one of those things. I feel like everybody who is friends with Sean runs into him at some point and disagrees with something he says, and then you talk it out and realize, oh, okay, like I understand like this and that. And I've also heard, you never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. I
Yes,
think that's very important.
that's a good thing. That's good advice to give to anyone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, besides like those outside noise from trolls, and you mentioned like, you're very busy with your family and whatnot. Has there been anything about your creator journey that has been difficult for you?
Just the time that it takes. It's very time consuming. Like, I do anywhere between three, no, so probably like 5 to 10 podcasts a week. Like, it is very time consuming. Like, my days are, I do like a Tuesday, I'll do a writing gig or with Wrestle Talk, where I'm waking up in the morning and working like a regular 9 to 5 or 9 to 3, and then on a Tuesday I'm doing 9 to 3, and then at 3 o'clock here I'm going into doing In the Weeds. And plus, I think the time consuming is more time consuming when I'm back in the States, where it's early on in the morning, where I have to wake up at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and I'm working till 10 a.m. And then at 10 a.m., I'm doing In the Weeds. And then I do that for like two hours, 2.5 hours. Then I'll have like a half an hour break to spend time with the family. And then I go right into another podcast where I'm reviewing Monday Night Raw for another 2 to 2.5 hours. So the time that it takes to be a content creator, I don't think that people understand it. Like, especially, I know like yourself or others that don't not only do their own content, but you're editing the content, and editing takes even longer. I'm lucky enough that a lot of my stuff is doing live streams where it's just live, it's out there, it's uncut, and there's not a lot of editing that you could do. You could do small nitpicks and small trims afterwards, but once it's live and it's out there, that's the content that you're putting out there. But I only imagine how much time the likes of like Queen of the Ring and Minnie have to like edit all of their stuff and stuff like like that, that takes even more time. I think that not a lot of people understand that like content creation is like a nearly like a 24/7 job. Like you're always worried about like how the videos are doing, how the feedback that you're getting to it is. It's not only time consuming with the work that you're doing, but in front of the camera and then behind the camera as far as like editing and looking at the video, looking how the trends are going, what you're going to do. You're also brainstorming. You're thinking about what's going to be the next content that you're putting out there. What are you going to say about the show that you're watching? It's so time consuming. It's always on your mind. So I think that the time that it takes to be a content creator and how much focus that you put on it, that is the thing that not a lot of people kind of understand about content creation and what this job really entails.
Yeah, I'll tell you from experience. Like, I have more time to do it now that I'm single again. But it's one of those things that I literally spent, and this is being a little bit dated, but I just did a video with LJ. It's maybe about a half hour long, and like just editing the graphics in that took me 2.5 hours just for a 30-minute video. I don't think people who don't who aren't in the content creation game understand how much time somebody puts into it, especially if they want it to turn out good. If you don't care, then you don't spend a ton of time on it. But you have to have some kind of dedication. And I'll speak on this too. I got to meet Denise in January, and watching her work like right in front of you, she is ridiculously good at what she
Yeah.
does. And it's just awe-inspiring to see. Like as soon as she's done filming something, she's working, and like we all kind of knew that with her work ethic, but actually seeing it in front of you is just wild.
Denise is amazing, and I call her the birthday twin because we share the same birthday. We were
Mhm.
both born on May 18th, and like people say, "Oh, you're the hardest working guy." I was like, "Nah, I'm nowhere near Denise Salcedo." Like I remember seeing her at Starcast in 2023, and you got this little girl who's like carrying a whole bunch of cameras and stuff, and all of her equipment, and then when she's on the ball and she's in front of that camera, there's no one else like her. She just has this just effervescent energy that just connects with her audience, that connects with anyone she's talking to, whether it's a co-host, whether it's a wrestler. She's amazing at what she does, and that's the dream. That's what she has been able to achieve. That's what all the content creators, especially in the wrestling media world, would love to be in her place, but she deserves it because she's worked so hard at it.
Absolutely. That is definitely a bar to reach. And it's a very high bar because
Yeah.
she's absolutely incredible. Now, I feel like I would be remiss without bringing this up, but it's been almost 4 years since we've been on QuizzleMania together. And for me, doing the one show, it was so much fun to be on, but you had been on QuizzleMania multiple times by that point and were even the champion. What was the overall experience on that show like for you in particular?
Oh man, I loved QuizzleMania and just the community that built at a time that a lot of wrestling fans needed it during the pandemic. And Adam Blampier and what he was able to achieve being the host of that, the group at Wrestle Talk have always been amazing to me. Like Luke Owen gave me my first opportunity to be on like a major platform, and it all came from a little tweet that he put out there, and he was like, "Oh, who do you guys want to see me do content with?" And this was in knee deep in the pandemic where, I was still doing True Hill Heat. I had just started a gig writing for the first time. But I just took a shot and I put a post and I showed him, like, I sent a link of a True Hill Heat episode where me, Miss Chrissy Love, and Top Guy JJ were like praising the Lord that New Japan was back after the pandemic. And because we were so like big New Japan fans, because New Japan was really where wrestling was kind of at in the 2020s. And you had AEW that was still growing at that time. WWE was under the Vince McMahon regime, and not a lot of fans were feeling that as much as they are now. So like, yeah, that when New Japan came back and I sent him that and he just watched that little section and he was like, yeah, sure. He hit me up and I got on there and that totally changed my content career like life. Like it totally changed everything for me because it helped True Hill Heat grow to what it is today. It helped myself kind of get out there and get my face out there on another level. So to do that and then transition into doing QuizzleMania, that's like a dream come true for a guy like me because I have so much wrestling knowledge in my head. I couldn't tell you what I was learning as a junior in high school in history class or algebra class, but I could tell you when I was a junior in high school, it was 2005 and John Cena won the WWE championship and Batista won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21, and I went into Latin class and I told my co-host, who is now my co-host on AE Ramble or AEW Dynamite Review on True Hill Heat, Jimmy Macaram, I was like, your guy Batista ain't like my guy John Cena. That's my memories from from being a junior in high school. So like to have a show that kind of tests your knowledge of professional wrestling and then has the outrageousness of telling you, saying the identity of a wrestler by showing their nipples. It was just so much fun. It just put a smile on your face watching it and then being able to be on the show. That was just a great experience. And I have the honor of going for the rest of my life to say I was the first black man to win QuizzleMania. It was me and Will Washington. We're the only black men to win QuizzleMania. I had to crawl for Will Washington to walk. No, I'm just kidding. Will's my guy.
Will's great, yeah.
I'm the Jackie Robinson of Wrestle Talk because I'm the first black man to win QuizzleMania and the first black man to win Survival Series. So yeah, QuizzleMania, that just changed everything for me as far as like getting more people to kind of gain notice. And I was just at SmackDown in Wembley Arena in London on January 16th, that January 16th episode. And I had someone stop me and be like, hey, I know you. I've seen you on the videos with Wrestle Talk and QuizzleMania. So to this day, 4 years later, after me and you were on the show, I still get stopped at shows from people that saw me there. So it totally changed everything. Like I can't go to a wrestling show sometimes without at least one person recognizing me from those videos. So shout outs to all those at Wrestle Talk, shout outs to QuizzleMania because it changed a lot for me as far as like getting the wrestling community to gain notice of myself and my opinions.
I mean, that's got to be a fantastic feeling, knowing that the work you put in and people are like shouting you out saying, hey, go check out this guy. Like that, to me, like we talked about the dream, that is something else that, I personally want to work for. So, that's incredibly inspiring. Next up, I want to know, since you've done so much content, is there anything that you've done that you can point out and be like, that's my favorite thing I've ever done?
Oh man, that's tough. That's really tough. I can't say there's like a single thing. Like I just enjoy like the True Hill Heat flagship podcast that we do every weekend on Saturdays. I have so many editions of that I would say, yeah, that's the best one. That's the best one I've ever done. But like consistently, I think I say that after almost every episode. I'm like, yeah, that's the best one we ever done. Like I just laugh and have a good time. And I'm able to kind of be the point guard there where I'm able to kind of dictate where the conversation is going. As far as like, damn, that's really tough. As far as like interviews though, I think my any of my chats with Speedball Mike Bailey. I think if you're gonna say like one, I've done like 3 or 4 interviews with Speedball Mike Bailey, and just to get to know him and see his rise and talk to him when he was an independent guy who just started with Impact Wrestling, and then talk to him after he's been the X Division champion in Impact Wrestling, and then get to talk to him with Sports Illustrated and talk to him after he signed with AEW. I think if you just watch those interviews, you can see the progression of him, you can see the progression of me. So if I had to say one piece maybe it's a series though, but like those 4 interviews with Speedball, maybe, because I also did one with him and Tret Seven as well when they were a tag team, Speedball Mountain in Impact Wrestling as well. Those series of interviews, that would probably be the one piece I would say go out of your way to watch that, because it's such a fun chat, and I feel like talking to Speedball helped me to develop what is my kind of style as an interviewer, where I like to have conversations in the interview. I don't like to have. Sometimes I'll go into the interview and I have to be like, yeah, I have to ask this question. This could be a good like talking point or headline for the conversation that we're having. But as far as like Speedball at this point, I feel like he's a friend. So like those conversations like flow a lot better than any of like my other interviews. And outside of that, if I had to do like a single interview, my interview with on Sports Illustrated with Gabe Kidd, because I got to be a part of one of my favorite matches of last year. So Gabe Kidd made the challenge for Kenny Omega for Wrestle Dynasty in the Tokyo Dome when I was talking to him. So to be a part of something that I went on to just enjoy and say it was one of the best matches of last year, like if I'm saying one single piece, that would probably be at that interview with Gabe Kidd.
I mean, when you're included into something like that's pretty amazing to even if it's just like the smallest part, like the beginning of something incredible.
Yeah,
that's something to strive for sure.
definitely.
I want to take just the briefest break from wrestling talk because we share a fandom in the New York Yankees, and it has been 17 years since they've won the World Series. Yeah, they were in it against the Dodgers in 2024, and that went about as well as we expected. But do you think Aaron Boone's the guy to get us the next one, to get us number 28, or is it just? I don't want to compare him to Mike Tomlin because, like, I'm a Steelers fan too, and Tomlin did bring the Steelers a ring. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
but is it just status quo until they get over the hump, or what could it possibly be to get the Yankees number 28?
I think it comes down sometimes with baseball. It just comes out to luck and the timing and everything, and then injuries. And so, like Aaron Boone, I don't think he's the best coach of the New York Yankees. Do I think that he can get us number 28? For sure, because I think that the Yankees have the talent to do so. And I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. I remember going to the old stadium with my dad for the first time when I was like 8 years old. I worked at the old stadium in the final year in 2008. I was selling beer and chicken tenders, and I used to bring home the chicken tenders after work because we used to make so many. So like I have this connection, and then the first year that of the new stadium, I got to go to some games for that championship run in 2009. So like I love the New York Yankees. My baseball fandom is not anything to do with baseball. It's all to do with the Yankees. This is something that like it got passed down from my dad to me. So I think that as far as Aaron Boone, I think that you're probably going to have to switch things up after a while. If you keep failing, going to the World Series in 2024, that gets him his job for a couple of more seasons, I think. But you're probably going to need to switch it up after that if we don't get back to that promised land again. But it all comes down to timing and who we're going up against. We went up against a juggernaut in the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just they're the new dynasty of baseball. So it might come down to going to the World Series and it not being the Dodgers. I think that's the only difference. I think in 2024 it felt like we were going to win that championship, but we ran into that juggernaut. So I think that it all comes down to timing, injuries. I don't think it really is about Aaron Boone himself.
There you go. I think they have the talent as well. It's just some of the decisions that are made, especially in critical situations, is very. It's not how I would do it, but again, I'm not a baseball coach. So, all right, now we know that all content creators are different. So, if you had to give advice to somebody who is looking to join the content creation game, what would you tell them?
Don't. But
fantastic. Do we need anything else?
In all honesty, You just have to have a passion for something. If you have a passion for something, I don't think it takes too much thought to turn on the camera and talk about it. If you're
Mm,
passionate about something, if you can articulate your opinions or your takes on a certain thing, it could be movies, it could be TV show, it could be fashion. Like my nephew just recently got into content creation. He has his own Twitch channel, and I just hit him up the other day, and I was like, he's like 23, 24. He just graduated college. And I was like, oh, I enjoyed the hell out of your stream, because I was watching him, and he was just talking about someone else's list of top 10 white girl bangers. And he was talking to me. Yes. And it was just fun. It was just fun to hear him like talk, and he's like cursing. He doesn't talk like that around me. So to see him on camera and just be his natural self, even more natural than he is with his uncle. I think I love that. I love like I give him advice all the time, where I'm just saying like, just turn on the camera, just have fun with it. He's into basketball. I was like, play 2K on the video game. So anyone who's about content creation, it could be anything. As long as you have a passion for it, as long as you can articulate your thoughts, I think that it's a field that anyone can do. You just have to kind of just do it or don't.
yeah. It's one of those things too. It takes time. Like nobody is going to turn on a camera and be like an instant star right away
No.
with no preparation. Like if you're going to do this, experience helps. Knowing what to do in
Yes.
certain situations helps, and
It's trial and error.
it really is.
It's you just have to kind of turn on the camera, do your thing. It's not going to probably turn out the way you wanted to. So guess what? Turn it back on and do it again. Like it's just it's all about reps. I wouldn't be where I am today, or wouldn't be able to do interviews like this back in 2017 when I first started doing this. When I first started doing this, I didn't speak that well all the time. I used to curse a lot, and it was yeah, you kind of had to grow into what what I'm doing today. So it takes time, it takes trial and error, and it just takes kind of doing it.
That's very true. It does take a lot of repetition. Even I don't know how many years I am into this, at least 6. It's still a learning experience, and
Yeah.
it will continue to be a learning experience until I hang up the microphone. But I want to list off a few people in the wrestling media space, and you can. It's word association. You can give me a word or a phrase that you think about the person. I'm going to start with somebody we already talked about, Denise Salcedo.
Uh, the bar. She's the standard when it comes to hard work, dedication, and results. So the bar.
There you go. Sean Ross Sapp.
Best reporter. Best reporter. And not only with reporting, I love hearing his opinion on stuff. Like he's just a genuine guy. And then when you meet him in person, it's like he's the same but not the same. He's just so nice. He's one of the nicest people that I've ever interacted with in the wrestling media game. But when it comes to reporting and getting the scoops and being on point and having that level of media literacy that is unlike anyone in the game, Sean Ross Sapp, that's the best reporter.
Yeah. Great reporter, terrible taste in NFL teams, but hey. Jeremy Lambert.
That's like my best friend in wrestling media. That's like the person that I have grown to love. He's the only person that would ever make me go to Ohio, and I was happy to do it for his wedding. So that is best friend, but he's also one of the hardest workers that doesn't get a lot of credit for it. Like people will always talk about how hardworking Sean Ross Sapp, Denise Salcedo is, because they see them on camera and they have these large platforms, but they don't know the hustle that Jeremy Lambert, through sickness, through bad health, through family, having their sickness, and just the day-to-day grind of having 12 kids, like he always talks about. That man is one of the hardest workers you will ever see in any field. But overall, my first words that come out is best friend. That's the best friend I've made in the wrestling community, wrestling media game.
I'll tell you what, like there are people who don't know about this. I filmed a video to be Mr. Elegance, and I kept it secret. And then I saw Jeremy's. I'm like, yeah, I'm not topping that, so nobody's seeing this. Like, I'm not putting that on the back burner. Nobody's seeing it. Like, I can't outdo what Jeremy did. Next up, Joel Pearl.
Joe Pearl. I'll say the nice part, and I'll say Joe Pearl is one of the sweetest individuals you will ever meet, but he's also my rival. I always badmouth Joel because it's fun. It's fun until he takes it seriously. Sometimes I can be convincing that I'm actually upset with him or don't like him, but I love Joe Pearl. He's one of the sweetest, most positive people you will ever meet until you catch him doing a TNA review at 11:30 at night. Then he gets a little bit more salty, but he is the sweetest person you will ever meet in the wrestling media game.
All right, next up, you just did a SmackDown review with her, Cresta Star.
Phenom. Cresta is one of the most talented, most funniest people to ever talk about wrestling that I've ever seen. She's hilarious, and the way I do a podcast or can have a podcast and have a conversation with her is totally different from anyone else. I always enjoy doing podcasts with Cresta. That's why I was willing to stay up till 4 a.m. in the morning to do that here in the UK and talk about SmackDown with her. And we just died laughing, and I had to try my hardest to not wake up my kids or my missus and get beat up by my missus talking about Jacob Fatu gangbanging on national television. And Cresta got everything I was saying. So it was great. Great time.
In that same vein, the one and only Kate Elizabeth.
Kate is amazing. That's the one word I could give for Kate, because Kate was someone that I didn't know about previously until she got to like Fightful, but she's been doing so much great work with like Shining Wizards podcast, but she's amazing because of everything she does for Fightful on the back end. Like, it's not just what she does on camera, where she's great, she's insightful, she has her own unique point of view when it comes to professional wrestling and how she sees it, how she thinks it should be done. But she is so great for everything she does behind the scenes and getting people to fill in spots on podcasts, and how she interacts with every person very differently on camera. She's amazing at everything she does.
100% goes on. Kate's somebody I'd like to go on that show at some point. I mean, all of them, but
yeah.
Alex McCarthy.
That's my wrestling dad. That's the person that put me on a lot of different ways. Like, I did an interview with him in 2020, and we just became instant like best friends. Like, that's another one. Like, I got a few best friends. There's Jeremy, there's Alex, there's Sadie Nyangi. But Alex was like instant. It was like love at first sight. The first time we had a conversation and we talked about our love for The Rock and our hatred of Triple H growing up, and just the way we connected on that level in that first interview that I did with him on True Hill Heat. That's the reason why he asked me to be a part of Wrestling Daily, and being a part of Wrestling Daily and having an active role on the Wrestle Talk podcast family. That changed everything for me as a content creator. So that's like my wrestling dad, wrestling media dad. And he is the GOAT of UK wrestling media as well.
There you go. And you just mentioned him, Sadie Nyangi.
That's my Mocha brother. That's my Mocha brother right there, man. Because like I won't front. I'll pull back the curtain a bit. I told him in the past. I've told him this as well. When they got him on Wrestling Daily, I was like, oh, they trying to replace me with another black dude. But then I saw him with Alex for the first time. When I saw him with Alex and the way he interacts and just the energy that he brings and the humor that he brings to everything he does, I was just like, nah, this guy's gonna work. This guy is like the perfect person to bring in, who just brings a different dynamic. And then when I got to do a podcast with him, I was just like, Oh, I love this guy. This guy is amazing. This guy is like a brother to me, and so is Alex. I always call Alex my brother from my Irish mother. And but you know, like me and Sad, we're able to like hang out now that I'm in the UK, and yes, our friendship has grown to a brotherhood. We have a brotherhood with me, Alex, and Sad, and like yeah, that's my Mocha brother, 100%. I'll do anything for him. I'll put him on anything. Like I always tell him, come on True Hill Heat whenever he can. If there's an opportunity that I see on radio or podcasting, and he's so multi-dimensional. He could do it all. Like he could get outside of wrestling media and talk about film like anyone else. No one talks about film and TV like Sat. Sat is another one who's just incredible at everything he does. But 100% the first thing I think of, Mocha Brother.
I'll tell you what, Sat and I have this agreement that if we ever meet in person, we are hugging for 60 seconds. Like that is an agreement we have, because he is absolutely fantastic. Like everything you said about him, 100% true. I love Sat to death. And I'll finish this by saying everybody on True Heel Heat.
That is the family. Like nothing that I do outside of True Hill Heat, Sports Illustrated, Wrestle Talk, QuizzleMania, Fightful. Nothing that I do outside of True Hill Heat would be possible if it wasn't for the team that we've built, the family that we've built within True Hill Heat. Whether it's Romeo and the amazing ability that he could do like on camera, and we have this rivalry where he loves WWE and I'm very critical of WWE, so we can bounce off each other and have these heated debates, but then at the end of the day we're still brothers and we're like, oh, I love you still, don't worry. Like yeah, I said some bad words about you, but I still love you. I only say this because you're saying nonsense on camera, or you're saying nonsense in our private chat. He even argues with me in private chats too, thanking Hunter Hearst Helmsley for things that are not not things that you should thank him for. But but he does so much great work with all the thumbnails that you see on True Hill Heat. He's just so creative, and his mind works in a totally different way than mine works, and it just balances everything out. Stat King, my boy John, that I met back in college in St. John's University. He's just so smart. He has a law degree. He's a lawyer at trade, so we can bring him on to talk about different contract negotiations, different contract situations. So he's a great addition. The True Draw Josh was like, he was the person that first time I interacted with him, we got into an argument in a wrestling group on Facebook because I had a rivalry with Cody Rhodes because he flipped me off at an ROH event in 2019. I still hold that grudge against him to this day, and he loves Cody Rhodes. And we just went back and forth, and I was like, I hate Cody Rhodes. He's like, who cares? He started trolling me about me hating Cody Rhodes and stuff. And from there, we just grew and became these great friends, and we agree on a lot of stuff now. Like it's crazy, and now we do a podcast every week. And like Top Guy JJ, that is like another one that's like a brother to me. Like he, at the first time I met him was as my boss at Victoria's Secret when I was only 19 years old. And then to go from there, he found out that I'm a wrestling fan, and I connect also with Baby Sev, Johnny Abreu, who is our producer, who does a lot of the background stuff on the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. But JJ is so great because he just brings a different type of energy. He could go on these rants and he gets angry about certain stuff, and it's a totally different dynamic that balances out with me. And how the True Hill Heat flagship podcast started is just me and him bouncing off of each other. And we had a co-host before, but then we replaced her with Chrissy Love, who is just, oh my God, Chrissy Love is so talented and so great at everything she does and her opinions. And she wasn't into podcasts. There's another person that I became friends with over an argument because she loved Becky Lynch and hated Ronda Rousey. And I was the big Ronda Rousey fan back in 2018 during her rookie year. And I was like, Ronda Rousey is going to be the reason that woman main event WrestleMania, because I was in the building at the Royal Rumble in 2018. And I literally said it then. I was like, that's going to be the reason why women are in the main event of WrestleMania. It's Ronda Rousey, and she hated Ronda Rousey and loved Becky Lynch. And JJ saw the dynamic of our argument and was like, we need her. We need her on the show. We need to get her on the show. And now it's been 7 years of her on the flagship podcast. And it's so great to have a female voice that won't back down from anyone. She will let her voice be heard regardless of if she agrees with you, if she disagrees with you. She stands 10 toes down. So to have her a part of the team, it just creates a different dynamic that is so great. But we got guys like Chris G, another person I met in a Facebook group who does our shorts, and he contributes so much on that end of the team. Drunk guy JJ, he does show up on camera all the time, but even our conversations in like the private chat add to our conversations that we do on camera. It's just such a wide verse team of different individuals that have different opinions, but we come together as a whole to talk about wrestling and just have good times together. And we do it on camera, and we're able to make this channel that's now 25,000 strong. It's just amazing how much we've grown and how much we've developed as on-screen people, but as friends and as a family. So everyone at True Hill Heat, they bring something to the table that I don't think any other YouTube channel, any other team in wrestling can bring, where we're actual family, we're an actual group of friends that have created something that puts our name out there and has grown and has created opportunities for so many of us. So that team at True Hill Heat, that is family.
I mean, that's phenomenal. Like, having a team like that is, you can't put it into words. Like, you can try, but like, it's just that's amazing. SP3, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'd like to thank you for being on the show. And you've talked about True Heel Heat. If people want to find the channels you work on or anything you're doing, where can they find you?
Well, you can find most of my work. I will share it down here at True Heel SP3. But if you want to talk about True Heel Heat itself, it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at True Heel Heat. That is TrueHeelHeat. So you can follow us on all those platforms. I'm there on the channel pretty much consistently 3 days a week. Tuesday with Rated Raw Review with Romeo or Top Guy JJ or both, where we review Monday Night Raw from the night prior. I should also mention my good brother, I did mention him earlier, Jimmy Macaram, who I went to high school with, and almost 25 years later, we're doing a podcast consistently. One of the longest running AEW Dynamite reviews in all of YouTube. We've been reviewing it since November of 2019. We do that every Thursday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, probably the most unfiltered and longest running AEW Dynamite review, because Jimmy Macaram is basically a black version of Jim Cornette, where he does not like a lot of AEW, and it's great. It's great. It's because you have a dynamic of me who enjoys a lot of AEW and a dynamic of him that doesn't. So you get the balance, and I think it's different from any other AEW Dynamite review out there. And then Saturdays, 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time usually is our flagship podcast with myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and the True Draw Josh. But you could also find a lot of my written work at Sports Illustrated, The Takedown on si.com, where we talk. I do a lot of the list, of course. The number one list is the top 10 greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Because if you didn't know, that is me that Becky Lynch is talking about when she says Sports Illustrated thinks it, because I graded her number one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. So that's a lot of my written work. Also at WrestleTalk.com, I do feature work there. And then on Fightful Overbooked every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm there with Jeremy Lambert talking about everything in the world of pro wrestling and a lot of NBA basketball as well. So also you got True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment, which is our second channel, where I do reviews on Power and movies. I did a review on Stranger Things season 5. I do basketball podcasts over there. So yes, a lot of time consumption. I'm always busy, and you'll always pretty much find me on some YouTube channel somewhere 7 days a week.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. I love shows like this. I love talking about the content creation journey, and you are doing a service to content creators like myself and the wrestling media game by doing shows like this. And you are one of the great people. So hit the subscribe button, y'all, if you haven't already. I'm forcing you
to. Don't think you're forcing them to. It's like, hey, anyway.
Just do it. No, you better.
You better. SP3 will send the family after you. Thank you so much for joining us. Go check out SP3 social media, all of his content, and thank every one of you for watching this episode of Greg Talks to People. You can find me on all social media at Greg Cherry Brand. And until next time, be kind to each other.